Hello everyone, Roose here, and wow, yeah, 4 years. I will say before this video starts, this is all unscripted, so do bear with me if there's some ums and there's some pauses. I do have like a list of notes here to go through. So, if you've seen recently, I've been uploading a lot of YouTube shorts as of last week on basically the end of June, and yeah, this is basically my comeback to YouTube after not uploading for 4 months. 4 years since the TF2 Schmishmas 2021 experience video. So this is going to be a video talking about where I've been for the last 4 years, what I've done. I've done some pretty cool shit during the last 4 years, and my eventual comeback. So yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, we've got 2020 to 2022. This was during my prime of YouTube content. I was cranking out videos practically every week, or I'd say at least month-wise, because these montage videos that I used to do, they were like, that you look on the Premiere Pro timeline and it would just be like a cluster of clips and effects all together. I've got my YouTube up here, and it brings a smile to my face looking at some of the stuff. I think out of all the public videos that I've got, I think my favourite one has to be probably the Resident Evil chapter. 2020 was the year of COVID. For those who don't know or not from the UK went into lockdown during that time, and East Anglia, which is where I'm from, which is the east of England. We'll put it as a loyalist of the east of England, so that's why I say East Anglia. We went into lockdown a bit later, hence why we were a bit more sensible in regards to like the social distancing and all that kind of bollocks that happened. During my time that I moved out, I looked back at it and I thought to myself, oh my god, I actually kind of admire my previous self, because I was doing all of this YouTube stuff whilst working full-time at a bar, and essentially it would be, my day would be wake up, play DBD, edit videos, go into work, so I used to do night shifts. Sadly though, because I was taking on a lot of stuff, I didn't really have a golden life. I had my YouTube, but when I was at college, I wanted to become a film writer, and as like you can already see from the film industry and even just the creative industry as a whole, the creative industry is struggling at the moment. So, and even back then during lockdown, because all the opportunities were cut out. So I essentially had we're going to put it as a 1/5 life crisis, because I think I was like 21 at the time. And that happened in December of 2021 when I moved to Cambridge for a job, because I managed to chat myself away from a 24k salary to, I think it was like a 39k salary just for washing dishes. It was pretty Gucci, and I managed to hold it for a month, but then I got laid off because of a health violation. Not me per se, I brought it up, and then they were like, yeah, we've got to get rid of Rob. So yeah, I had an eventual crash in 2021. I'll talk about something that I've visualized about that in regards to what happened, but I got very suicidal during that time. And yeah, life kind of toppled on itself, and luckily I did have obviously my YouTube stuff, I had my DVD stuff, my gaming bits and bobs to keep me motivated to keep living on. And at the start of 2022, that's when I moved back home, and that's when I wanted to get my life back in check, which is what led on to what I'm doing right now for the last 4 years. So before I talk about that, I'm actually going to talk about some of the cool shit that I used to do during 2020 to 2022. I also will talk about cool shit I've done for the last 4 years, but I'll do the DBD stuff now. So I did Dead by Daylight content. I did obviously all the montage stuff that was inspired by Albino. There was a Fortnite YouTuber, I think it was Socks for One his name is, and then God forbid, Too Mad. His old content, and that's what inspired me to do my videos, and people loved them. I was actually looking through a lot of them recently and seeing like some of the comments, people being like, yo, this is so cool, and oh my god, it's the Green Man. And yeah, I was pretty deep in the Dead by Daylight community back in the time. I was known as the Green Man. I ran into streamers like Limmy, the Scottish like comedian guy. There were some other DBD YouTubers that I was like friends with. Some of the most notable ones was Asimov's, who I still talk to this day. It was really nice speaking with him recently because he went out to the DBD anniversary event in Montreal in Canada. There was Pebsy, and then Troubled Boys, who helped me. Well, to be honest, all three of them did help me after I stopped doing DBD content and went on to do what I wanted to do. But yeah, Troubled Boys, seeing them blow up, I actually had a look at their channel recently, and wow, like they really rode the lightning of the stuff. There was a DBD Dead Slinger tournament that I did. That one I think I came 23rd in out of 150 people, because it was basically like you played against Dead Slinger, and then it was based off of points. The guy who ran it though, he came out to be a very nasty person, I think like 3 months down the line, so yeah, it was like, yeesh. I did a charity stream during 2021, I think that was in August time, where I raised money for Special Effect, which is a charity for disabled people in the UK. It basically helps them get equipment to play video games. I think I raised like £150 for that. That was really fun. I was playing using Nomiva and trying to like survive for, I think the longest I got was like 6 matches without going down on the hook. And that eventually ended when I ran into a huntress, I remember. Yeah, so obviously I talked about Limmy. I ran into him and he was like, oh yeah, this guy knows how to play DBD. I was like, hee 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 ha. And then finally, this kind of, I guess, leads into the next topic. I did some cosplay. I dressed up as David King, if I get up on my Instagram. I commissioned the ugly sweater and I got some nice photos. I went to a few conventions to show it off, and also went to a forest to kind of take some pictures, be like, yo, I'm David King with my medkit, and yeah, good times. So now I'm going to talk about what I did after 2022, and basically, before I fully go into it, when I had that breakdown and I was back home, I was thinking, okay, what do I want to do with myself? Like, I still want to do all of this writing stuff. I did Dead by Daylight chapter concepts. That's the one thing I forgot to mention about. I did a chapter concept for the Constable, which was going to be like this killer dressed in police, like Metropolitan Police attire, and he would like stalk you, and they'd be like, "Oi!" and you would get exposed. Kind of, I guess, like what Ghostface was. But yeah, it was more like you would break line of sight with him rather than looking directly at him to snap it out of it. So yeah, I did some writing, and from that I was like, okay, well, I can't really do film because yeah, it's really hard to get into, and what's going to be the next best thing to do? And during that time of going to conventions, that's when I discovered comic books. And, you know, comics I did used to read as a kid. I think I've still got my Mega Man one that I got from 2017 when Archie Sonic teamed up with Mega Man during its, like, final stages when they were going through the whole legal battle with Ken Pender's, comic book ball. And, yeah, I was like, okay, well, you know, these comic book stuff is pretty cool, so I think I'm going to get into that. So from looking at YouTube, I think I still did I did do YouTube content because there were some privated videos that I did. I think there was one where I was like, oh, I saved TF2. Yes, 26th of May 2022. Yeah, so I did a save TF2, and then I did a my first year in comics video. I think that's got like a little video of me. I might just quickly show that or something. But essentially, I had stepped back from making Dead by Daylight content because it was also the case that I remember Dead by Daylight was in a really crappy space. You know, they had the stuff with Nemesis get released, which was really good, but after that, I think it was like Dead Hard got nerfed or reworked, so now it's like really crap, but it still kind of got its like aspect to it. There was the whole NFT situation, which, if you get to know me, I'm very based. I don't fuck with NFTs. I don't fuck with AI. And there was some other stuff. I think the game was just in a really shitty state, so I was just like, yeah, nah, I'm bunking this off now. I don't, enjoy it anymore. Oh yes, and Stranger Things, yeah, that got removed during August time, I think, or it was October time. Right, back onto topic. Yeah, so for the last 4 years, I've been doing comic books. I've released 20 odd comics with 8 physical releases. Those releases have been Infection, which is a zombie series based in the east of England, East Anglia. That's a 3-part issue that takes inspiration from Left 4 Dead and Back 4 Blood. You'll find that with my comics. They have a lot of video game inspiration because, well, I am a gamer. You've got Sticker Knight, which is a black and white medieval knight series about a knight covered in stickers. That one's normally a bestseller, but I've actually had to can it because I'm doing like a reboot of it. You've got my autobiographical comic, which is what I mentioned about the whole suicidal thing, because there's there's 2 pages in it where I worked with a artist from Wales, Izzy Hafrell, about essentially when I cut my throat accidentally with a razor, and I was just like, well, I don't really feel anything. Is this what like suicide feels like? My more recent ones I've done has been Tournament Tour Fighter, which is a fighting game comic. That one has inspirations from Street Fighter and Tekken, but the main focus of that one was like Skullgirls and Guilty Gear, like the goofy aspect of it. You've got good example is my dog is in a mech from an undisclosed horror film that also has a little toy hanging on it because Millie likes that little plush that I had for her. She's got rid of it now because she chewed it to bits. From also undisclosed video game. Yeah, so there was that, and then the final one was an anthology I recently worked on over the last, I think, 6 months, which is the Great Tree comic anthology, which I did some stuff in regards to one of my free comics that I do called Bloody Ween, which takes inspiration from kind of like the Looney Tunes crazy ass vibe that the Team Fortress 2 comics have. So yeah, that got publicized, which was really nice. And yeah, during those 4 years as well, I did conventions. I've done both comic conventions and gaming conventions. I've tabled at these conventions and sold my comics. I've attended some of these conventions, spoke with some like industry people. I've met some pretty cool people along the way. So I met, like, for example, the person who does the Little Nightmares comics for the art wise. I tabled behind John Wagner, who's the guy who created Judge Dredd, at a convention in Bedford. That was really nice, and he's a lovely guy. I think most people in the UK comic industry they're pretty nice, even though like most publishers are they gatekeep comic creators. But it's been fun over these last 4 years doing comics, and there has been aspects of video games that I've had with it. When I've done, for example, Infection, I replayed the whole of Left 4 Dead, and I played a bit of Back 4 Blood with one of my comic creators that I will talk about in a second. I think I'm now going to start talking about some of the cool shit that I did over the last 4 years with my absence from YouTube. Do excuse if I do miss out anything, or if I'm like, oh yes, I used to do that. So, first of all is cosplays. I was like, yeah, this David King cosplay is really cool, so I decided to get into a few more cosplays, and during one of the conventions that I did, I met up with a bunch of TF2 cosplays, TF2 cosplayers, so I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to do that. And I remember with the money that I had, I brought myself a 3D printer. I 3D printed some stuff. I did the TF2 shotgun, I did the Saxy, eventually did the black box, which is the rocket launcher that actually sits behind me. I did Wario from Mario, which was really funny. You can see a theme with the soldier and the Wario, that like they're very like, they're like really kind of scrunched up face, kind of like, moody characters, because I've kind of got that look to me that you'll see in like photos, because people be like, yo, you look like the TF2 soldier, and you actually sound like him, the voice actor Rick May. So let me try it now. Let me try it's like, you sissified maggot scums have just signed your death warrant. Yeah, so it's pretty good. What else did I do? Yeah, so Wario was my last one, but then I also recently did, if it wants to reload me on Instagram, then I recently did Harry Dubois from Disco Elysium, because I was like, yeah, this is a cool little cosplay that I could do, and I've kind of grown myself a beard, as you'll see with my photos. So, and you'll see a photo of me like more recently, which is really nice. Conventions is the next area. So I used to do small cons and big cons. Yeah, I went up to Lancaster for a comic convention. That was really fun, and I sold some comics there. And then I did some more bigger comic conventions. One of the big ones in the UK is called Thought Bubble. It's up in Harrogate. I did that. I got a half table, and then like 2 years later I got a full table, which was last year. I did gaming conventions like iSeries, Insomnia Gaming Festival. I did, if I remember, I-68, I-69 and I-71. I did Epic LAN, which I will get on to Epic LAN as my final topic here. Epic LAN is like a more local LAN convention that I do, and I play video games at, and I meet up with my friends. So yeah, I've been kind of busy doing a lot of conventions and such. Events like Free Comic Book Day and Letchworth Comic Con. So for Free Comic Book Day 2024, I did a bunch of comics. I collaborated with a few people. I'll chuck some of them up. I actually did a Dead by Daylight one, which has just come to mind. It's the whole Green Man where I used to hide in bushes and then flashlight save people. That was Free Comic Book Day 2024. 2025, I went to my local comic book store in Bedford to do like a little, oh my god, I'm showing off all my stuff, and that was pretty fun. A little small event. And then, yeah, Letchworth Comic Con. So Letchworth was looking for some people to do comics at their library, and I did that. And I think there's a picture of me where I look very, like, hot and bothered there, because it was, like, scorching hot. It's been scorching hot over the last, like, few weeks in the UK. And then I will talk about Epic LAN in a second, but I think it's best to mention on the topic of comics, 2 of my comics actually got nominated for an award. So there is a comic, we're going to put it as a comic company or journalist company up in Scotland called Comic Scene, and they are the UK comic magazine as seen in their title. And from that, my issue 2 of Infection got nominated as Best Indie Comic for 2024 or 2025, I think. And then my autobiographical one and my Sticker Knight issue 2 got nominated for the 2025-2026 one. I didn't win in the end, but for it to be nominated and for people to put my name down, it was like, wow. So, final thing that I like, the final cool shit that I did over the last 4 years is Epic LAN. So, I think I started doing Epic LAN back in 2022, October, and basically, it's Epic LAN is we all go in a little LAN hall. It's a quite big one. I think there's like 1,000 people that go to this event, but it's only like 400 people that like table at the event, and you play video games. You sit down with your friends, you play video games, you enter into tournaments. They've got like their own big tournaments. I think it's stuff like you've got Overwatch, CS, StarCraft, and Valorant, but I'm more of like the community side of things. So I did the community side of things, and I've been doing Epic LAN practically all in a row. Thank you, Instagram, for not loading. I've done it for like 3 years in a row now, and the main thing I've been aiming for is the community belt that's sponsored by Intel, and you get that by basically participating in the like community stuff, and then you go onto the community final to play it and win it. And yeah, I'll pop up some few pictures of me. I see, for example, a good one. Oh yeah, I'll talk about Sonic Symphony in a bit as well. You can see, like, for example, one of them where I'm holding 3 mouse mats because I won 3 mouse mats at my first ever Epic. And there's someone that I know who's wearing one of the mouse mats on his head. Yeah, I got a medal for that one. That was for playing CS2 with the person that I'm standing next to, Balling Scout. The funny thing about that is there was, I think, 6 medals that were given out, and out of the 6 medals, you can see in that photo 5 of us, all of us as a group, got it. But at Epic 45, 46, and 47, which is the last Epic LAN, I've won the community belt. We played Counter-Strike 2. We played on a special map. I'll actually play some of the clips in below, and I might actually do a little short-form content of the video that I made to promote it. Yeah, CS2 on a custom map. We played Speedrunners, which was really nice because I used to play a bit of Speedrunners back in the time. And then Make Way was the last game. And yeah, I've been holding the belt for quite a while. I've actually got Epic LAN in a week's time now from recording, so I'm looking to uphold the belt for the 4th time in a row. I won't be able to hold it for the 5th and 6th time in a row because I'm actually about to talk about my partner. So yeah, I'm going to get onto that now, actually. So, one of the the really, really nice news that I've had is that I want to talk about my partner, who is one of the comic book creators that I've worked with. So, this is Sam. You can see a photo of me and Sam here. We've worked together since the start of my comics. She did my first ever comic, and then she did Infection, then she did Bloody Ween. She did the Tournament Tour Fighter. And then, yeah, the only projects she hasn't worked on has been Sticker Knight. Oh, and she also did the autobiographical one, yes. She hasn't done Sticker Knight, because I did that with a guy called Levi, which I've been in contact with. I'll actually put up some of the artwork that I got recently, which is quite nice. So me and Sam have had a bit of a crush on each other for a while now. It's been one of those like comical relationships where like we've been like, damn, we really like each other and we really want to confess with our love to each other, but like it's been like doubt, and it's been based on like previous stuff, because not to go into too much into it, Sam's previous relationships haven't been the greatest on the side of the male side, and then with me, I lived with an absolute psycho who knocked my confidence down in like speaking with women, which is yeah, it's a bit embarrassing to think about, but essentially she came over 2 years ago and we went out. We just went out for a nice time, and I think that's where she was up thinking that I was gonna ask her out, but as I said, I was too much of a wimp to do it, and we got a nice photo. I think can I get it up, or did I post it on my Instagram or not? Sam, if I did not post on my Instagram, please don't beat my ass the next time I jump in VC with you. I did not. Whoops. But basically, last April, 3 months ago, she came over to the UK and she went around the UK and she was like, yeah, we'll meet down in London. So that was kind of where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make my move with Sam, and Sam was gonna make her move, and basically we had a nice day out. And at the end of the first day, because she was in London for 2 days, she was gonna go to Stonehenge, but she was gonna spend the first day with me, or it was the second day with me, I can't remember. We was in Flatiron in South Bank, and she gives me a little note. Yeah, it was like, oh, I love you, Rob. I can't imagine my life without you. And that's when we both confessed our love to each other on April 8th inside of that Flatiron. And since then we've been together. We went on kind of like a mini date during the next day. We didn't go to like a restaurant, mainly because Sam didn't feel well from having my medium rare steak, because I like steak with a bit of like redness to it. And yeah, since then we've been dating. We've like, even before dating, we talked practically every day. Sam was one of my best mates, and she is still one of my best mates alongside being my partner. And yeah, like we've been cooking. As I put it in the graphic novel, the anthology, it's noted down as we're the packaged duo, so I kind of like pre-ordered the relationship. That's our like little joke. I also need to change my bloody calendar. I've just had a look. Yeah, we've done some pretty cool stuff. One of the big things that she did for me recently was we worked on a comic adaptation of a upcoming game called Contact Protocol, which is a job simulator that's based in space. And we worked closely with the developers because James, who's their social media manager, is one of my best mates. And the game's really fun as well. You should go check it out. I might actually put like some content up on screen of me like playing it. And yeah, we worked on that, and we're essentially, like as I said, like she is the artist and I'm the writer of the relationship, and she is the love of my life. I will be honest with you, the train back from King's Cross to where I am, because I'm on the Northern Line, I just had a massive smirk on my face. Oh my god, it was great. And she was, yeah. So yeah, that's I'm spending time with Sam, which now leads me on to why I've come back to YouTube and Dead by Daylight. So Sam, obviously we play a lot of games together. Some of the games we play will be stuff like Deadlock. We've played Mecha Chameleon recently. We did obviously the Left 4 Dead and Back 4 Blood, as I mentioned. What else have we done? I think we did Helldivers, but she actually didn't like Helldivers. She's not much of a shooty person. But one of the games that she wanted to play was Dead by Daylight, and I was like, Sam, trust me, you do not want to play Dead by Daylight. This is like a game that is for sinners. And she was like, oh, Wesker's in it, and this is gonna sound really embarrassing to mention. She was like, oh, I want to be choked by Wesker, so like, can you play Wesker, please? And I was like, oh my. So like we've been playing Dead by Daylight, and I was like, yeah, actually, this is not bad. I've still got it in me, like, because I think combined hours, Steam it says 600 hours. I think on PlayStation I've got like 1,000 or 2,000 hours because I just played a load during um lockdown. I did, and yeah, we've been playing since and be doing like the short form content because Sam was like, yeah, she found out about my YouTube and she was like, you should do some of this short form content. So that's what I've been doing, and yeah, so I'm gonna still keep doing YouTube content because it's really good. I'm to be honest, like, I know it's gonna sound depressing, and Sam and other people will be like, no, Rob, you're good at other things, but to be honest, I'm only really good at like 4 things in life. That's like being a good boyfriend, playing video games, video editing to an extent because I don't use Premiere Pro anymore. I use DaVinci, and then making comic books. I got back into the game. I'm going to be uploading some other content as well because I'll play some other games. I've got, as I said, Epic Land coming up, so I've got like a list of games that I'll be playing. Sam got me Eugenics, which I'm going to be doing some like content in regards to that. Atomfall as well because we love Rebellion games, and I might get KCD too, but I'm not going to get off Steam because Warhorse supports AI. So, banner. Instagram and TikTok. In regards to my socials, I only operate on, well, I have my Instagram, which I'll put up. TikTok will probably be in the comments or something like that. In my my old videos, if I remember, it was like, oh, it's the Roose special. It's Paul from Trouble Boys that used to say that when I used to start my videos with like the subscribe to Buff Tenacity, but I don't have Twitter anymore. I came off Twitter because of the whole Elon stuff, and Twitter, if you know, Blue Sky is the website that I'm on. Blue Sky's got its own problems, to be honest. It is very political in the same sense of Twitter, but also it's the case that Twitter is just a cesspool. It is seeing who can piss the furthest and uploading the most like rage baity content. Yeah, it is a shit show. Twitter is, so I will not be returning back to Twitter. I know all the hip kids are on there, and I know as well there's comic creators who are like, oh fuck AI, but they're still on Twitter. So yeah, I don't particularly like those people either. But yeah, I'll be opening up a TikTok. I will as well because she was like, oh my god, you should get TikTok. I was like, maybe not. But yeah, so thank you. It's been Rob, and yeah, I'll see you in the next YouTube short.